Lodestar Esports now coming over to this bear, and the Volibear seems to be first to be going in with the ultimate. Sejuani ultimate missing the backline completely. MF ult coming down, taking down only the Volibear with the Vi ult in the backline on the ADCs. The jungler's gonna go down. Be a triple kill for the way, maybe even going for a quadra.
Hey yo, 6-0!
Hello and welcome back to the Lodestar Esports channel. Today is the Svenska Online Liga quarterfinals in the Div 3. Oh wow, hype is building today. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, we got to see the Lodestar boys hopefully get through. So yeah, sorry, round of 16, not quarterfinals. I do apologize about that. But yes, very good stuff ahead of us today. Rue, welcome back. Hello, how are you doing?
I am good. I'm glad that you brought yourself up on the round 16 because I was going to slap you down instantly, but we are all sorts of ready. We have our 4th seed in 2 Massive against the Lodestar Academy in the 13th seed, squeaking through a very tough group that we saw them in quite often, managing to get themselves that 13 seed. And now they come into this straight up best of 3s now until the rest of time, effectively. They're just consistently got to win now. No other choice apart from that. Otherwise, they will be eliminated. No losers bracket. Nothing like that. It is just you win, you're through. You lose, you're out.
Absolutely. It's all or nothing now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the time where athletes are made. This is the time where players have to absolutely lock in, play the very best that they can, and hopefully they will move further and potentially end up with a massive prize at the end. But let's get into a little bit of analysis. Rue, what can we expect from both teams today?
Well, I think we can expect a lot more of the same coming out from Lodestar Academy, where they've been playing through their lanes a lot more than anything else. It is the way that they play. Skagen, so solid in the mid lane. Zeno, one of your favorite players, I know for sure, in that top lane. His Aatrox is legendary. And then Zixo, as well as creating that lovely music you guys heard in the intro, also a very solid ADC. All 3 of them in the Masters Elo right now, but they're up against some formidable lane opponents themselves. It's not going to be easy, whichever way you look at it, especially in the bot lane. I'm quite scared of Scary Crow, of insane output he has on Jhin, and that's not the only champ he can play either.
I think, like you've just said, that it is definitely a tough match coming into this for Lodestar. They are the underdogs, so, you know, from the get-go, obviously, I believe if they placed 13th, I'm pretty sure in terms of Swiss stage, and 4th was the, massive, 2 Massive, and so obviously it's a bit of a tough match. Two Massive coming into this, they are the bigger team. So, like you said, you mentioned that bot lane. Do you think that
double master bot lane? That's gonna be rough.
Yeah, it is rough. Do you think that definitely the focus will be on that top lane? Hopefully, seeing Xeno sort of. That's definitely the opportunity going forward for them in terms of that side of the rift.
I think that's going to have to be the strong side.
Yeah.
Playing into this scary plus Danny Dump Truck, which is, by the way, one of the best names I've had the pleasure of saying. But both of them high masters, very near Grandmaster. I think Scary Crow is about 2 or 3 wins away. So you're looking at that. You don't really want to be playing through the bot side. But if you get a lead there, then there's absolutely no reason you can't go down there and pound them into the ground. But top side would look to be the typical kind of place where you might have an advantage.
Yeah.
Vinze hasn't played all too much this season, only just hit Diamond. Last 2 seasons was Emerald. And then mid is also potentially abusable. Rusted Iron has really hit the climb in the past couple of weeks. Platinum in last season, he's already up to Diamond, so mad respect for that.
Yeah.
But it seems to be mostly on Anivia, and that's something you can just say, okay, we're not going to play against Anivia. We can just ban that out. So it'll be interesting to see what Lodestar choose to do as we head into draft eventually.
Absolutely. I mean, I think just a key little mention here, as a top lane, I can't not look at the specific champions that we might expect to see in the draft.
Any Tahm Kench?
No, there isn't actually. I mean, you've witnessed my Tahm Kench firsthand. But
stuff of legend.
It is the stuff of legend, chat. It is the stuff of legend. But I am seeing a lot of Jax. Now, I think the highlight for Xeno here, 71% win rate on that Jax.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very nice. And 100% win rate on that Renekton. And obviously, they're champs like Renekton and Jax. I think Renekton more so has really sort of popped off a little bit, due to the recent patch. I think that he's very, very good at scaling and, not scaling. Dueling is the word that I want to do. I think definitely early on, he's really, really strong at dueling. And I think that, rather than, like we discussed loads of times, there's no lane swapping anymore. And it enables the top laner to step out. And champs like Renekton, a little bit dueling like the Jax could go really, really strong here. Obviously, we've seen Xeno on that Aatrox. That Aatrox is phenomenal. But I'd like to see him play that Renekton. I'd like to see him play a little bit of that Jax. We've seen a little bit of the Ambassador there. Ambassador picked a lot in pro play. But I think definitely a lot of champs, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Obviously, a wide variety, but I think, yes, absolutely. From the top lane, I'm looking forward to this one. Absolutely looking forward to this one.
And the key thing that links all of those champs together is really their dominance in the top lane matchup, right? You're looking towards your Aatrox. If you start losing a lane as an Aatrox, you are going to suffer for the next 15, 20 minutes until your Nexus explodes, right? Jax, kind of the same. You do have the late game scaling potential, but that is especially true on the Renekton. That is his 3rd most played this split. And you pointed out, he is like dominant Korean level Renekton is our Xeno. So I'm interested to see how he can play that into Vinze's champ pool, which is quite similar for the most part. A lot of happy to dual champs, thinking like the Aurelia, the Fiora, all those kind of just fight to the death, see what happens. Very interested to see how both these teams can play. We haven't actually been able to witness 2 Massive just yet. We have been focusing, of course, on the Lodestar's Academy team and how they've been faring in the SOL Div 3. So, I mean, the rosters look about the similar rank, I'd say.
Yeah.
They seem about a similar skill level. It just appears that one team is much more cohesive. And I had to say 2 Massive. Getting a 1 seed in a group is not an easy task. And they've managed to do that with the same roster as a 4 seed.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. And, it's... I think definitely coming into this, they've got... I'm sorry, I just can't stop looking at Danny Dump Truck. That name just like...
It's a good name.
Every time I see it, it just catches me off guard. But
that's understandable.
Yeah. But like, I think... I couldn't agree with you more. I think that obviously coming into this, they are the higher seed. They do have the more experienced ranked players. But there is an opportunity here for Lodestar. And in terms of champions we can expect to see from two masters, because we haven't really seen much of them, what are we sort of expecting to see?
Well, if we have a look over at the wonderfully created OPGGs, we see, especially towards jungle, is very confrontational, right? It's not exactly the friendliest role, consistently killing all the monsters you can, but these also kill players. Things like the Viego, the Elise, the Lee Sin, very aggressive, and he has managed to get Digurin up to Masters, so you have to respect that as a threat. Going on the other side, Lonely Seal is going to have to try and match that. He has a very similar champ pool as well, with the Viego and the Elise in there. Things like the Vi, and of course his trademark Skarner. So on both sides, it's going to be pretty even in the jungle. Heading now towards bot lane, Danny Jump Trap loves his engage by the look of it. A little bit of Karma in there for a little bit of spice, but the rest of it, Nautilus, Rel, Leona, even Braum to some extent, has some engage potential. I think once you have that kind of support jungle set up, everything else is just kind of trivial. I would be shocked if Lodestar let through the Anivia of Rusted Iron. It seems to be his most comfortable champ by quite a long shot. 120 games. Next most is Ari at 20. So I think if you eliminate that, you suddenly get Rusted Iron into a much more difficult part of his pool. He has to work on something he's not used to using.
Yeah.
And a 65% win rate, by the way, on 120 games is absolutely nuts. I have to shout that out.
It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And I think we'll, no doubt in my mind, we'll expect to see that Anivia ban coming through. Obviously, to be fair, I've seen it a little bit. That's made me really excited. A little bit of the Rise, actually. I mean, 6-7 win rate, only 3 games played, but I like that champ. I like seeing the old school sort of League of Legends OG champions being picked and used. It's quite nice to see. And I think Rise, very late game heavy, but can, deal a lot of damage. Very, very, can be very mobile as well. And obviously that his ultimate could be, it's not usually most impactful, but it could be used in just getting onto objectives or getting out of team fights. I would love to see a little bit of the Rise today. It's nice to see a Rise player. I think if you turn our attention
as well.
True, absolutely. I mean, I think it's the mid lane matchup is. This is going to be something that we'll have to pay a lot of attention to. I think that the two really experienced players, obviously, Skargant being the more experienced in terms of higher rank, but no, that's something we can absolutely pay attention to, and I'm really looking forward to see how it sort of goes in game. I was just going to move my attention to the support. Now, obviously, we discussed the bot lane a little bit. Support is definitely one of the more macro roles in the game in terms of roaming, vision, etc. Danny Dump Truck on the support.
Can't say it.
Definitely, I can't say it. Definitely more, experienced. Does play a lot of the engaged style support. So that Nautilus, that Rel, that Maokai, that Alistair, Leona. Thoughts on that in terms of support? What are we expecting to see? And what would you like to see?
That it is impossible to actually ban that man effectively. You can ban a couple of champions and you'll get something, right? If, for example, that they have something crazy going on, like a Kai'Sa with an Ambessa and then a Viego or something, right? They are coming to dive. At that point, okay, let's get the Rel out of there. Maybe even you say get the Nautilus, but he's still going to have so many other options. The Leona's going to be able to dive in over the top. Nature's Grasp, if he wants to just play Maokai. His ult is still Maokai ult, even if he is a little bit underleveled compared to the jungle variety. So no matter what, you're not really banning this guy out. That's not the point. You're just banning specific champs that you know are going to work well for his team. If he chooses to take support early, you can't really do anything about that. You just have to play around the other lanes and minimize his impact.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's definitely going to be... I think we'll expect a lot of roaming, because I think they will just win the bot lane outright. But I think for Lodestar here, they're going to have to play around that top side, starting with Grubs, preferring to get the Grubs over the Drakes. Because realistically, I don't think they'll have a lot of prio to begin with.
It's going to be difficult no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. In in terms of like composition style, like we've seen clearly that with Danny playing a lot of that engaged style support. We're seeing a bit of that Ambessa, a bit of that Aurelia, a bit of that Viego, a little bit.
There
of
is some
Hecarim
dive
being
potentials.
mentioned. Yeah, there's a lot of dive potential coming
dive
from
potentials.
two massive, and I think that goes against usually what the Lodestar starter plays, which is a little bit pokey, a little bit reliant on just individual kind of plays, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. But I think that against a team that has this level of understanding and chemistry could be a little bit difficult. Obviously, we have absolute faith in, like the chat is saying, the amazing top laner Xeno and the individual players of Lodestar. But I think that this will be a really interesting sort of battle between macro and micro, I would say. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. It's one of them. It's definitely one of them. I think that it's not going to be an easy game. Thank God it's a best of 3. So hopefully we get that
guaranteed a decisive result.
Third map, a decisive result. I just want to see that third map. Hopefully, without any bias, Lodestar can pop off.
If they can get one map, then I would personally be surprised and honestly impressed. The team they're up against is a formidable opponent. Lodestar are coming into this as a pretty big underdog.
Yeah.
So getting one map is something. If they take it to a third, I will be surprised, if I'm honest. But I mean, stranger things have happened, right? And a lot of these times, it can come down to how they draft, to how they play. Of course, we are not playing Fearless in the SOL Div 3. That is reserved for Div 1 only. So if you have something that works, you can abuse it multiple times. They have to find the bans that deny what you really want to play. And if you have something even stronger behind that they ban first game, then that's all the better for you.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that is like one of the benefits of not having Fearless. It's like you said, you can just abuse the same composition over and over and over. But is it wise to do so when, you could get counterpicked a little bit? If the team's familiar with how you play, you could sort of change that up in the second game. But if it works for you, then absolutely stick to the guns. I mean, I would imagine a lot of comfort picks coming in for the side of Lodestar. Like that Syndra for Skagen. Like that Xeno on the Aatrox. But yeah, hopefully we will be seeing a lot of just comfort picks in general.
Yeah, I expect a lot of the comfort picks will probably be banned out as well. But of course, you have to worry when you see something like 120 games on Nivea and 20 on their the next most. It's a pretty clear-cut ban from where I'm sat. I think, especially with how few champs Rusted Iron has played at a really high rank, that is something you can look to abuse from Lodestar Academy. That is kind of your way into the game. Kind of feels weird to say you're on a strong side mid. It's not really a side, but you're going to have to find ways to get your support up there, get your jungler to gank mid, and I think that is going to be the main access point. Get Skagen ahead this game.
Absolutely. I think that, if you can get the mid prior, that opens up obviously some of the objectives a little more. Obviously, if you do get that mid prior, that hopefully helps Drake a little bit. Then you could start to roam, support maybe that bot side that it will be losing a little bit, gank maybe. I think that Skagen is definitely going to be one of the key factors in this game coming up. I think that if they're able to pop off, win their lane, get a little bit fed, they could be definitely one of the carries. Because obviously, I think, like we've discussed and said several times, Lodestar might struggle in this bot lane. And you need the damage to be coming from somewhere. You need the high amounts of carriness to come from somewhere. And I think Skagen is definitely one of the key players. And to be fair, one of the most consistent players I think we've watched across all the games we've seen. We have absolutely seen Skagen pop off. But yeah, it's definitely something that is on the lookout. We're on the lookout for. I think in terms of predictions, Rue.
Yep.
What are you going for?
He's done this to me. I think that it is unfortunately going to be a too massive 2-0. I think Lodestar, they have a strong side. They have very strong players, but they don't always play the best together. And I think
Yeah.
that will be their comeuppance today. Too massive. They have got to their first seed for a reason. They are a very cohesive team. They've played with each other for enough time to get all their rotation down and somehow make this average roster look very, very impressive. So I'm interested to see how they've managed to do it personally. That's what I'm really looking out for today. And I think it's something that Lodestar Academy can really take and learn with them as they move forward into what's likely to be the next split after today.
I mean, because you've gone that, and obviously you've gone the more methodical, more probably accurate route, to be honest. I'm not. I am a hopeless romantic. I am an optimist. I am an absolute believer in the dream. Lodestar Esports is my winner, and I think they'll win 2-1. I think we'll go to a third map. I think that it'll be really, 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 really tight, and it'll come down to one of the last fights. But Lodestar Esports 2-1, that is my prediction for this game.
So what you're saying is you're delusional.
I am absolutely delusional. But someone's got to believe in these boys. I absolutely believe they can do it. They're a really talented team coming up against a very talented team as well. But I believe in them, absolutely. Yeah. I think we will go to a little bit of a break chat just while we wait for things to be set up. But we will see you in a little bit.
Ayo, 6-0.
Hello and welcome back. Sorry for all that wait. Thank you for being a little bit patient, guys. Really do appreciate it. But we are nearing the draft pretty shortly. The temperature is starting to rise in this, well, especially in my room. But Lodestar potentially playing one of their biggest games, if not their biggest game this season in the round of 16 of the Svenska Online League and Div 3. No fearless draft. Ruse, so coming into this, are we going to, hopefully, what are we going to see? Are we going to see some changes? Are we going to see some standard stuff?
I mean, we have no data of the series to go off just yet, so Fearless not going to take its mark, or not have its mark. I don't know how I've messed up the wording on that, I think. Either way, we will see basically pretty normal stuff coming in. I think, coming for Lodestar, if they want to try and limit Danny, there are options. Neither of them are good, right? You can say, we're not going to let you have Nautilus Rel in the first rotation, and then you suffer because he has so many other champs. They're just not his most played. They're just good champs, right? At the end of the day, you don't want to be in a bot lane with Leona. You don't want to be engaged on by Leona. It's not a fun time. Tom Kench is very solid at saving his ADC. Not great synergy with Jhin, must admit. So, Scary Crow probably is not going to take the Jhin if you force them onto something like Tom Kench, but Tom Kench is never forced, right? Tom Kench is the last resort that comes out when you need him most to save your ADC. It just feels like there's not much of a choice that Lodestar Academy have going into this. I'm interested to see what they choose to do themselves, because throughout all their options, there are some slight spots that you can point to, things like that Nautilus Rel. If you want to get them away from their comfort on support, everyone else kind of has similar-ish games played across the board in all their champs. So at that point, you're basically just saying, I don't want to play against your annoying champ, please. And we'll see how the draft progresses from there.
Absolutely. I would love to see a little bit of Tom Kench gameplay. I'd also like to say a warm welcome to the viewers in chat. Hello, hello, hello. I hope we're all doing pretty well. I mean, I just really want to see some Tom Kench. You put that idea into my head now, Rue.
I know how much you love that frog.
Real. He's not a frog. He's a catfish. It's a catfish. It's a catfish. I know the law. I know the law.
Oh, it's too easy. It's too easy.
I know exactly. Well, I just know the law. I'm too
well versed in the ways of the Kench.
Real. I believe. I'm pretty sure that the draft is happening right now. I think that you guys should be able to see it shortly. I think we just got a little bit of confirmation on that. But yeah.
I can see it going somewhere, but also not going elsewhere. So we will hold off on anything for just a couple seconds before we get it confirmed on the stream. But yeah, we are moments away. We are brimming with anticipation for what is likely to be some interesting picks and bans coming into this one. I'm still not convinced on what Lodestar should do at all. I don't think there is one clear path that they should take. There are many paths that they could, but that doesn't mean that any are better than the other.
I think that low-key, I think they should just start off a game, comfort picks, pure comfort picks, if they can squeeze them through the draft phase, of course, and just see how that goes. If, hopefully we'll force out some strong picks from Too Massive. But if they can sort of see how they go on that and just play on them comfort picks the way they usually play, like obviously Xeno on his famous Aatrox, Skargan on that Syndra, it could go well for them. You never know. They're a lot. Well, they've properly studied these champions. They're very, very good on them. But I think Loki, it's just a go with it kind of strat. But I think it could work if you're worried about the draft, but how they're going to play. Just play how you usually play and just see. Make them play your game, not theirs.
Yeah,
So
and that game is going to be very different as well. Having a look back to kind of our draft concepts, we see a lot of Lodestar. They do like to play around their side lanes, especially Xeno top lane. He likes the side lane champs a lot more than he likes the team fight champs. He plays the Cassante when he has to, but like, don't make a guy play Cassante. No one wants to do that, right? Across the board, on the other side, Skargant's champ pool is so side lane focused. Things like the Victor, the Syndra, the Hui, all of these champs dominate the side. I didn't even mention the Vel'Koz because I think that gets banned about every series. So, a whole lot of options. Interested once more to see where they take this.
Absolutely. I think that coming into this, I like the thought of Tom Kett just stayed in my head because there's actually, and now you put the Valkos into my head as well. Obviously, there is a slight bug with Tom Kench at the minute. I'm not sure if they've fixed it, but you can eat an ulting Valkos and basically walk around with them like while they're in Devour and just laser people.
Yeah,
it exists.
It exists. The mobile torch, I guess.
Yeah, yes.
That sounds. I mean, Tom Kett has always had those odd interactions where you can't cancel a teammate's ability like that, but it will still go off while they're being eaten. Lots of interactions I know like that, as well as like the Pot Blossom version as well, which is quite fun. But yeah, that does sound especially interesting. Yeah, looking forward to the draft. We have about 3 more minutes to go until we are in there just yet. So, are there any final pointers we really want to get to before this draft kicks off?
I mean, I think that there are a couple worries, and obviously one of them being mentioned that Lodestar, they need to make sure that they ban certain specific targets that, like, obviously, you know, we're aware of what the teams can do in terms of, you know, Too Massive, they're a very strong team, and we know that they have certain specialists on their side, and obviously one player to shout out, but I'm not sure if they got subbed. I'm pretty sure they did get subbed, but it was that.
I'd like to confirm that.
Yeah, they did get subbed, thank God. So we hopefully won't see, you know, that if, to be honest, I think that has thrown Lodestar a little bit off the ball in terms of draft, because I think that's a pretty easy ban coming into this. I think, like, obviously you're aware of just trying to ban that mid laner who's just so strong in that Anivia, that essential Anivia one trick, 160 odd games on Anivia. Pretty concerning, but obviously I think that was probably, you know, if they did get sub, that was potentially a smart move by Too Massive, because otherwise that would have taken them out of the game.
It would
easily.
really
Just
narrow
ban
their champ
Anivia
pool
then.
down.
Yeah,
But instead they have someone coming in who is Masters, which is a terrifying prospect in itself.
yeah,
A very strong player, but he is an ADC main, so there is a little bit of wiggle room to see, you know, what champs is he too used to playing, right? Is he used to being in this mid lane? He's been practicing his Yasuo recently, which I have to say could have been going better. I think we'll put it diplomatically. We did see in one of our games, our favorite Xeno hit the O10 power spike against the Gnar. Next game, he was amazing. I believe he ended the day about 14 and 10.
He was absolutely fantastic. But
but the Yasuo itself can be so punishing if you aren't able to find your angles. It's a champ where you're forced to be aggressive, not quite to the same level as Draven, but if you're not finding picks, you're actively falling behind, and it is so punishing as a result.
I do remember that game quite vividly, and I'm glad you put that very humorous memory into my mind. I mean, obviously that was not the play in that game, but you know,
it was rough on every
really
level.
Rough. Do you know what would be really funny if we get to see that Gnar being picked into that Yasuo just for no reason whatsoever? it just would be absolutely fantastic.
That
But
would establish mental dominance, I think. I would not imagine a way into the game for Xeno if he gets counterpicked on a Yasuo blind by a Nah. All of those things are not happening, but it would be absolute cinema as we finally, hallelujah, we are
head
getting
into that
into
draft.
draft. And yeah, we're going to see Insta Huiban. So it looks like Too Massive not messing about, going to be targeting Skargan pretty heavily.
Absolutely. Now we are going to see that ban as of that Ezreal. Now Ezreal just been such a nuisance for Lodestar in the past couple of games.
Mm.
We are going to see that
Syndra.
Syndra ban coming in. Obviously, we know that Skargan is a really fantastic Syndra player, so that is a comfort ban being deployed there by Too Massive. The Tristana ban as well, that's completely understandable. Obviously, we have seen Scary Crow on that.
Rat.
Right, yeah, basically, yeah.
You can call it
Little
what it is.
yodel.
Call
Yeah,
it what it is. Turret rat. It's all
it
it
is a rat. To be fair, I think the only yodel that I can actually sort of like is Rumble, but yeah. Varus being picked, I kind of like that. Xeno, potentially going for that Maokai. Maybe we'll see.
It's good lockdown and it has such flex potential. It comes in Maokai when you have the players to support it. It can be flex top jungle support. I wouldn't recommend putting it ADC, but you never know until you try it, I guess. But it's going to be paired up with an Ashe, which should nip that in the bud. But still, Maokai, a heavy flex into a Varus. More than happy to take something with such good lockdown into something so mobile like the Varus.
Absolutely. Now, the Vi being hovered here will be hovered, will be teasing a little bit of the Volibear, teasing that Jarvan. A lot of choices indeed. We are going to see that engaged style.
Yeah.
Now, the Vi being picked there, I think... Oh, and maybe a Silas as well. Oh, okay, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we did discuss this earlier about Too Massive sort of engaged style, and we are absolutely seeing that. I think that the Vi and the Silas as well, if they get onto that Ashe, so just gone. Deleted from the game.
I am trying to find a time where Paul Systemet has ever played Silas. And I'll be honest, it's not easy. Let's have a look through everything. He has played it once in Arena a week ago on OPGG.
That's enough. That's the warm-up right there.
It is definitely one of the champions he could have chosen. It has great synergy with the idea that they're going for, of course, but I don't know they have to play this way. They could look towards maybe the more pick style. Something like a Talia I would have loved to see paired up with the Vi. But, of course, not the only option. Silas now into an Anivia. How does that matchup end up mid? I feel like Anivia's probably doing all right.
Yeah. I think Silas will struggle a little bit early on. We'll probably look to go with either that Doran Shield. Personally, this is what I do. This is what Zeka would do. But we just farm a little bit, and then eventually, and then 2v2s, 3v3s, I think that's when he'll start to pop off, and that's when he really gets into the game. But for early game, Silas just needs to sit and farm. Now, we are going to see a couple of anti-Xeno bans coming in the meantime. We did see that Renekton and that Jax.
They're still leaving open the main option, though. And
True.
I can only assume that Lodestar now going to use that as their counter pick. Going to take support early, send the Maokai into the jungle. Lonely Seal stuck on Maokai duty. Feels bad for him. And here come the other picks instantly. Too Massive. And Cassante and hovered on the Nautilus. Going to be picked.
Yeah.
Once more, looking towards these picks, the all-in fight's going to be very strong for them. But now, Xeno, this comes down to him. Can he find something in the top lane, potentially, that would absolutely dominate the Cassante, the Aatrox, or the Darius, both of which are
pretty strong.
Fascinating options. Darius has been absolutely spiking in the jungle, but I think this game, we will get to see him playing up against a Giga Tank who is also a brawler and an ADC and a mid laner and everything else that he is.
Cassante is League of Legends. He's just everything. But I kind of like that composition for both teams. Obviously, we know the set style that Too Massive is going for. which is that engage, that dive style. But then again, we've seen a nice bit of balance from, well, for the side of Lodestar. Obviously, we do have a little bit of that engage coming in from the Maokai, a little bit of engage from the Rakan, but a lot of pokiness as well, like from the Ashe and the Anivia. So I think they have definitely more of the mixed style composition. But, you know, Lonely Seal Maokai, I haven't seen a lot of it, to be honest, but we know how good that Maokai is in team fights. Very, very strong, just shutting down a lot of things, such as, you know, the ultimate. Very good at just stunning everyone, which opens up the sort of play for the Ashe just to farm, delete, and obviously for the Darius as well, who does struggle later game. In the first early sort of first early time of the game. I mean, obviously we will see probably a lot of ganks topside. I think just to get that Darius ahead a little bit, getting as much items as possible. But I think that it's a very strong composition. Which one sort of takes your favor, Rue?
Yeah, well, I think overall the team fight of 2Massive is way too much for me to overlook. It feels like Lodestar had an idea coming into this. They knew they were going to be up against this massive team fight brawl comp, and they chose to match it with side lanes, and that's completely valid. If you don't think you can match a team who prides themselves on being very, very good in team fights, trying to stay away from team fights is probably a good idea, if you're honest.
Yeah.
The way they've gone about it, though, I'm not the most convinced of. Darius, sure. Anivia, sure. But Ashe, going to be left basically on her lonesome most of the time in the mid lane. It's not going to be the best of times for that Ashe. I feel like something with a bit more push. Obviously, they banned out their own Ezreal. Varus was taken first, but I think you need something with either a bit more survivability, like a Kai'Sa, or something with a bit more push. I think Ashe might just be a little bit too passive in the bot lane.
Agreed. I think that Ashe, that is the sole and primary target. She's not very mobile, and I think that Lodestar, if you're Lodestar, especially Lonely Seal, you're gonna have to peel as much as possible for that Ashe. But then again, how can you peel against 4 different engaged champions? That is
you don't engage. Just kind of you don't peel. You just kind of hope that you can kill first. That's the way of this one. It will be up to Lodestar to find ways to kill 2M before they can really get that engage off. And I mean, you can disengage pretty effectively, in fairness. The Rakan quickness, the Maokai's Nature's Grasp, there are methods by which you can tell them to go away. Sticking a wall in their face is a pretty good method, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
There are chances, don't get me wrong, but I just think the overwhelming single target, especially, coming in with things like the Vi and the Nautilus, they have such good link up, and then coming in over the top, Chains of Corruption are going to spread throughout the team fight. Cassante is going to steal away your Ashe, and suddenly you're left 4v4 without an ADC. No way to get through things as tanky as the Nautilus and Silas are going to be. I would expect that we are up and out of here within 35.
Hopefully. I mean, I think that... Yeah, like you said, I think this is going to be... If you are Lodestar, your aim is to win the fight before the fight technically already begins.
You have to.
Get as much.
There is no way you're
before,
winning that team fight. There is too many good team fight champs. Most of all, Cassante. If we're honest with ourselves, the team fight champ right now. Silas, the AoE that he does, the Varus will do so much, especially if he's allowed to build lethality as well, which it looks like he probably could get away with. If we're being honest, Darius is not going to get tanky enough.
No.
Maokai depends on build, but even then, you're going to be able to get away with that extra damage burst from the Chains of Corruption. We will just have to see how it plays out on the Rift as we finally do load into Summon's Rift for the first time today.
Absolutely. Both sets of players ready to go. This is a massive, important game. The round of 16 for the SOL Division 3 starts now. Now, obviously, I like a couple of runes I like to highlight. Maokai Phase Rush, very, very well. Basically, he does struggle with mobility, and typically that is the sort of play on Maokai Jungle. I think he might look to probably go for either that Leandri's first item, just to basically give him a little bit more AP damage.
I think with Scorch is what you do, because the runes he's taken lead himself a little bit towards that extra damage. Varus, by the way, on the lethal tempo, so unlikely to go with the lethality that I was just hyping up. Still, obviously, very strong champ, whichever way you take him. Personally, I think this is a lethality game, but I can understand as well, there are some health pools that you're going to have to chunk through. The Blade of the Rune King is only going to help that out.
No invades, just pretty slow start. The Vi starting top side. We'll probably look to work our way down towards that bot side and get maybe a couple early ganks. Obviously, this is the area of focus for Lodestar. This is where they need to be really, really careful. This bot lane is so strong for the side of 2 Massive, and it's going to be pretty difficult. A little bit emoting on the top lane, a little bit of early trading.
Early trading, and both gonna lose out on the gold from those early minions, those early melee creeps, just gonna fall to each other. I believe Cassante was denied 1 XP tick, because it looks like he is a little bit behind. So Zeno doing his best to kind of troll the Cassante where he can, gets a little bit of an XP lead, and Cassante still hasn't got a single bit of... There he goes, finally. The first bit of farm in the top lane at 2 minutes 20.
Lonely Seal just getting onto them walls, looking to head top side now.
Yoink.
A little bit of early trading there, not going to be able to find much. Obviously, Darius wins quite early on. I would say, in my eyes, the strongest early game champion at the minute. But I think that's probably for the play. Now, obviously, a bit of a CS lead already. That Cassante doesn't really want to step up against that Darius for obvious reasons.
You've got to value HP, especially when Maokai likely coming around. We saw, obviously, Lodestar starting their jungler on the blue buff with a little bit of leash as well to get him up to top side nice and quick. If you can get that gank off successfully, even if it is a turret dive, it will be absolutely amazing for getting this Darius far ahead. But when the Cassante isn't willing to trade his HP for some of those creeps, he's happy to lose a couple hundred gold early to deny the Darius from getting that couple hundred gold back. It's suddenly a lot harder to dive, and maybe Maokai is forced to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm going to see a potential engage here. That Vi is bot
Grand
side.
entrance.
The Rakan does go in. Angel bot.
Good little trade.
Good trade there. I think definitely won that trade. I'm not sure if the Vi will stay. No, she'll probably look to maybe just...
I wonder if she got spotted going into lane there. There was another ward
so.
on the Tri-Brush, potentially spotted, because they were playing that very, very disciplined, I have to say, Lodestar Academy. It felt like they knew something was up. Vi not spotted. Vision now gathered. Both crabs going to be traded for each other. Top for Lodestar, bot for 2 Massive. A very default start to this game.
Yeah, it's pretty slow. It's just a lot of farming, a lot of cautiousness. I think that, in terms of how the mid lane is currently sort of going, obviously that Anivia is so strong at poking against that Sylas. Sylas does struggle a little bit. Especially against someone who could just poke and just shut him down. I think that they are just going to have to play a little bit slow and just wait for them 2v2s to sort of happen. Zeno, in the meantime, just farming a little bit. Just chilling.
I mean, this is one of the happier matchups you'll find yourself in.
Yeah.
As a Darius. Chosen as the R5 counterpick for a reason. Super close to that ult timer as well. If he can just detonate on the Cassante before he gets 6 himself, before he gets kidnapped somewhere he doesn't want to be, then it's going to be a perfect fight, basically no matter when, for Zeno. Looking to go aggressive with things like the Ghost and the Flash as well, so Vincel has to be careful, basically 24/7 on his guard, otherwise he will just fall from the random Darius that will happen.
And this will be a potential early Drake. I doubt there will be a contest as Lonely Seal is top side. Probably waiting for them grubs to spawn. Now that is something we obviously spoke about. Now, Lonely Seal preferring the grubs over the Drake, partly because they won't have as much prio in the bot lane as what they would like to. But we are seeing a little bit of a CS gap start to develop. Obviously, because
Zigzag is basically just farming under turret at this point as well. A lot of these minions are gonna fall to the tower instead of to the Ashe. And it's another thing that's difficult to play with now. Also difficult is this freeze that Xeno has pulled off on the top side. So there are discrepancies popping up across the map. It now comes down to the junglers, and also I have to say to the mid laners to really punish one side or the other. Lonely Seal running away from his own ultimate, as he's going to have to flash it actually. A little bit too scared. The Vi was close by. A good hijack.
Doesn't have that level 6 yet, so probably
not Vi gets it from the first grab as well.
Much as it likes. Yeah, I mean, I think like if Lonely Seal gets that level 6, I think maybe they have a massive chance of contesting that and possibly winning the fight, but they doesn't, and unfortunately will concede one grub in the meantime. So I think that was really well played actually by Pool System. I think that was just a really nice little ult there, a little bit. It just put the Maokai off, you know, and I think that them grubs are still open, and obviously if Gurren doesn't realize that Lonely Seal has taken them, well, hasn't taken them, then they could be potentially free, sitting there for a long time. Now, Xeno pulling off another little freeze.
He is bullying this Cassante out very effectively. 25 CS, already open up as the lead, and it's only 20 in the bot lane, only. So it really is just where the gold is chosen to go right now. Very even when you look at the top, but you look at the bottom, and suddenly it's level 6 v level 5, level 5 v level 4, and the hook also connects, chains corruption. Okay, that's a nice tank.
It's a nice tank there. Angelbot does really well, but is potentially really low. Needs to somehow live. Probably needs to back away here. Can't stand. But there we go. The first blood finally, and a potential another dive, and a nice bit of play from two. Massive there.
Perfect roam time found.
God. Oh my
Pool
goodness.
Systemet somehow, some way finds himself with a 100 HP Rakan in front of his face, steals the Ashe Arrow, fires it straight back at the owner. A second hijack that has forced a summoner or just a straight up kill. He's finding so much from basically nothing. Yeah. And there's also so many plates bot as well. Is that 3 plates that have fallen already?
It is. We did highlight that bot lane, and it's starting to show a little bit. I mean, to be honest, I think that was good play. A potential gank coming top side here.
That's unfortunate.
That is
okay,
unfortunate.
Well, we'll watch this again. It was still interesting. The Chains of Corruption did a whole lot of work. Puts Angelbot down to about 100 HP. And here comes the Silas from the hidden bush. The freebie, the yoink, the yeet, and the death. Cleanse doing absolutely nothing in that fight. And I'm interested to see the aftermath. It looks like it was a clean dive on the top side. Cassante goes down for nothing, and now a massive gold lead really opening up in top side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for the time being, that is good for Lodestar, but you know that Darius will fall off late game, so they need to get him in these fights as much as possible. Try and get him as much kills, get a little bit of that lead. I think we do have
this
it.
Will be,
so
we saw the Nature's Grass coming out. Unfortunate timing. We had the other replay queued up, but here it comes. Takes the turret aggro, gets rid of the turret aggro because he can become untargetable so easily. Skargan cleaning it up, gets the kill for the mid lane Anivia. Oh, no, it doesn't. No, did Darius take with bleed?
The Darius bleed, yeah.
Either way.
I think that was good play, actually.
It's kind of where you want the gold, I guess.
I love that dueling in the mid lane. I wonder how that's sort of going. Obviously, we might see Pool System just back off a little bit. Low HP, low mana. That Anivia just proving so
Ashe
damaging.
Arrow. Can it connect? It hit.
I think
It hit.
The flash
100%
used.
hit.
The flash used, and he does get the kill. Very nice. We didn't really see it on screen, but in the meantime, down the bot lane's a little bit of warfare going on as Angelbot will fall. A nice double kill coming
That's
in,
Rage
paying
Blade.
the price for that Ash Arrow. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
what is this game?
We are already hitting degeneracy point, and it's only a 6-kill game. So I honestly don't even know what to tell you, but it's plays happening on top of plays. Lonely Seal now comes down to try and save his tower with the help of the mid lane. Skargan collects the cannon. His presence is enough to send them away, but as I tried to, that's already a Rage Blade on the
Yeah.
Varus, and it's starting to crop up a little bit more. The Rage Blade first instead of that Blade of the Ruined King. It's an earlier timing to hit your spike on that first item, and instantly Scary Crow gets a double skill.
The follow up from the Vi, and that will be
That's an egg.
Skargan.
Oh,
Does
egg.
and manage to get out so low.
Egg?
Tries. Does
Is he even going to get his egg popped? What's going on here?
No.
They're all in
Does stay.
Anivia?
Oh my goodness. I'm
And they have
not sure.
Perfect
That was
vision on
like,
pull system as well.
yeah.
They're going to go in for the replay here. They're going to have to go in once more. The hijack hits another Ash Arrow.
Onto the
Zixo
Ash.
flashes.
Zixo manages to live. They need to follow up with the damage
They
here.
can turn this.
That Nautilus is so tanky. They can turn this indeed. But the Vi goes in.
Whoa,
Under the turret does
that's
manage
deep.
to find one. But unfortunately shut down. Lonely
There's
Seal
the
and
Varus.
Angelbot still alive. So Skargan, 1 for 1. I mean,
2 for 1.
oh, 2 for 1? Is it?
Dagurin died as well.
Oh,
on the
true.
super
Yeah,
deep.
of course. Yeah.
And Danny went in the meanwhile to Skargan, finally gets himself on the board. And now, I think he has Rod of Ages on back. This Varus
Yeah.
in the bot lane is a terrifying prospect. 2,000 gold up on the Ash, who has absolutely nothing to say in the lane phase. And I don't think it gets any better from here either. She will not get any sort of prio against a Varus ever. Ever.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think that this is what we spoke about at the start. This bot lane is just so strong. They've got so much space. Look at Danny. He can go pretty much anywhere.
That was tempting. He thought better of it. The wave had
Yeah.
disappeared. His Varus not quite close enough. But I would have loved to see it. I don't even think that Scary Crow is even going to go on the Blade of the Ruined King, which is an interesting idea. When you go on the lethal tempo, you're doing it to chunk out these massive health pool champs, right? You're expecting to be fighting, autoing for many times in a row, unless I'm going to have to cut myself off. No, I'm not.
No.
So it looks like with the extra dagger, unless he's just going Zerkagrees and I'm like giga-braining myself into the point of stupidity, maybe he goes something like Terminus and just sacks off the blade entirely? I'm not even sure he needs it. The health pools are not going to be that strong. Darius and...
Oh, Zixo in a spot of bother under turret. Nowhere is safe in this bot side. The fighters go in. The arrow followed up. Needs to potentially
kill.
run, but will get the kill onto the Vi. Very nice play.
It's
Wow,
gold,
I mean,
but it isn't
wow,
XP, because
yeah.
now another wave will fall to the tier 2. Nothing he can even think about doing to this wave. The cannon will go before he can get there. Angelbot doesn't even care about the XP. They're going to go for the long chase instead.
They will indeed. That Anivia is making its way down. We are going to see a
Nature's Grasp.
nice Maokai ult. Does land
Yes.
onto both of them. The follow-up, the W needs to be there. Will secure the kill. That Anivia does find it. That is really nice play. But the Cassante, in the meantime, does manage to TP down. And the counter Maokai ult coming in from the Silas. The Silas dealing so much damage. Manages to find one. The egg can potentially resurrect.
I think it will.
Does.
It's only
It
going to
will,
die
but-
again.
Probably will die again, but that's 2 shutdowns for that
Yeah.
Silas. I mean, pull system playing so well. They've
And that
just
really
left
brings it
lane.
back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skargan had found a little bit of a way to get ahead in this, and suddenly it has all come crashing down on top of him. The play to try and get something going for Zixo, who has been absolutely bullied, bodied, and destroyed in this early game. Still only at 80 CS, 2.3k down on his lane opponent, and I honestly can't even blame him. It has not been his fault. He's just been weak-sided to the point of falling off a cliff already.
Indeed. I mean, I think that's definitely a bit of an issue that's started to appear. Obviously, we are going to see that Silas getting that rocket belt. You'll love to see it.
Yeah. Ghost. There's no
a
turret
nice
on top side.
Ghost. Zeno
The scary overstep.
potentially could get a potential shutdown here.
Boom.
Does find it. Very good play. In the meantime, the Ash Arrow not going to find much. However, this Darius is solo, will be shut down. Not
Sorry.
ideal.
The idea of Darius getting cleaved in twain with his own axe,
Yeah.
courtesy of the Silas, who goes again but doesn't have the execute on Angelbot, so he won't get the reset. Lonely Seal now. Somehow
But does
gets
manage to
the
find
kill.
the kills, but does get shut down.
Angelbot
Poor
ran
system.
into the chains.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
That was really cool at the end there, by the way. He
Yeah.
a Void Grub spawned, so he was able to chain over to the Void Grub to escape over the wall. If
It's-
that
it's
Void Grub didn't spawn for that tower, if Lodestar only had 3 grubs instead of 5, he would not escape that.
very clean play. I mean, Zixo, in the meantime, just going to be farming, but definitely the threat here. Pull system, 5, 1, and 2. Doesn't care about the CS as long as they've got kills, and they have a lot of them. 9 for 9 in the meantime. It's a very close game. A very, very close game. Lodestar not bowing out just yet. They're putting on a show. 9 kills for them. Very, very close lead. Obviously, it's top for bot as it currently stands.
It really
in
is.
terms of turrets.
It's the dichotomy of this game is absolutely insane. It is so rare that you get to see a game that is within 100 or 200 gold
Yeah.
be so one-sided on different parts of the map right now. Darius up 1.7 is exactly what Lodestar wanted, but it has come at a hefty, hefty price. They have lost feats of strength, which isn't the worst thing, all things considered. But what is the worst thing is now your Ash, which has to stay alive, is so, so low. Pool system stealing the Anivia ult, and that's a good thing as well. Taking the Anivia into the Silas is a really bad ult for him to steal. We didn't get into it in draft. Didn't even have the time to cover it, but it's a very poor hijack choice that he's going to have to take every now and again because there are so few options to take when it is that kind of 1v1 in the lane. So at least Skarget will escape this time.
Absolutely enough. I think we discussed as well the importance of like Xeno in this top lane for Lodestar. Like he's opening the match, he's keeping his team in this game. Now obviously losing that turret so quickly in that bot lane.
Yeah,
as well.
I'm interested to see the play they're going for here. They have set up
The
something
Ash Arrow
in a
doesn't
bush.
Hit, but
Yeah, Lodestar setting up in the top side banana bush, but there's no objectives up there. Rift Herald had already fallen, and now they're just going to get the counterplay coming through, and that is a dead Ash unless Fun's
does
Flash
manage
is
to
able to
live.
escape.
No
Both
follow-up as
summoners,
he does
though.
recognise 4 players on the top side there. They will continue to push there. Xeno not stepping off the gas pedal just yet. But meanwhile, the Nort hook does come out in the meantime on the flank.
Mixed
Does manage to find the Anivia.
I'm ignoring the
alone.
Anivia.
Yeah, they did probably want to go on the Anivia, but they do get the kill for it. It's trade for trade, so even. It's such a symmetrical game. Xeno,
How is Vinzel stayed alive? What is that champion?
oh my god, oh my god. The Cassante finds 2 kills in the meantime, not able to follow up the kill on Xeno, but Xeno in a massive spot above her. Will be shut down! The arrow
Riot!
through the wall! Oh my god, Riot, what is happening right now?
What is that champion? What have you created
What?
in the top lane? He is an absolute monster. How Vinzel stays alive is a matter of scientific curiosity and nothing else.
He's
Too
so
massive with a
tanky.
clutch play. He's down 2k gold and he manages to make
Yeah.
that play.
And that
Absolute
has thrown him
insanity.
right back into the game. 2 kills, 4 assists, that fight. Wow.
What is that champion?
Wow. I mean, we are seeing it in the chat. This is a champion of 4,700 HP.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to send it if no one else did. I'm glad that someone else has the copy pasta at hand. It
In terms
is... what on earth?
Yeah, that was a costly fight for Lodestar as well. They let Skargan be isolated and found so easily. They potentially could get onto Pulse System, but Pulse System does have his
uses
W
Protobelt
up, so
early.
tanky. Will get ult in the
Protobelt-
meantime, but look, Angelbot Finding 2 in the meantime, but there's a probably
Yeah.
5v3, but it's not going to be enough. None of these champions deal enough damage. Scary Crow will follow up. I don't think that's...
That was an overforce.
Yeah,
That is a play that you make when you are like 5k, 10k gold down, not when you're still well in the game. Chains of Corruption, gonna get the Quadra. Go on.
Could potentially
Go
find
give
the
it to him.
Penta.
He doesn't
Needs
even
to
have
find-
damage out his by blade.
Does have
He
the
has,
E.
he has
Penta!
Rage Blade. He has Rage
is a
Blade and a Wit's
Penta.
End.
Oh my goodness. It's a pentakill for Scary Crow. The absolute GOAT in this bot lane duo. I mean, 2 masters. They had a play. They had an idea. We are just going to engage from the get-go. We're going to see Scary go follow up with that damage. This will be the Anakan for them. Absolutely insane.
Is that
Scary
gonna kill
Crow.
him?
What a player.
Yeah, he is absolutely popped off this game. I will give him that, but the fact that he is able to do this much damage on a Rage Blade and a Wit's End is absolutely filthy.
Absolutely. It's crazy.
That is disgusting in every sense of the word. This man has got like 30 AD from his items. He's got he's got so much damage from his Doran's blade compared to everything else. And yet he's still getting a pentakill because his team are working so well for him. He's landing all of his buttons. The Chains of Corruption at the end there to guarantee the 4th and the 5th were beautifully placed. I am in shock that he does this much damage on Rage Blade and Wit's End.
Absolutely. I mean, Wit's End is just literally attack damage.
Attack speed. Attack speed, and I don't want to
And
die,
magic
please.
resist. Yeah, pretty much. It's my go-to Jax item, but Asher are not going to find much. They need to stop chasing pull system because that happened last time and it just left. And so isolate the flash over the wall, followed up with a Nautilus ultimate and the hook. That will be another kill. Scary Crow only getting 90 gold for that. Not as much as what I would hope, but that Ashe is just worth nothing. They led the wave in the early game, not being too nice to Cassante and Abai in his top lane. Will shut down that Anivia, and that potentially will be that top red turret going down. It's...
How much longer do we go before we have to turn off and make this like an 18+ stream? Because
it's filthy behavior. It's absolutely filthy behavior.
I don't think this can be broadcast to like, like children.
11-2, 189, 5k gold lead in the bot lane, and poor Angel Bot
They're gonna go again.
will be found again. They're gonna try it again, but it's
when do you give up going for these plays?
Yeah, it's just not the play. I mean, both Brambles come out, not gonna be enough.
At what point do you just give it up and say, it's just not working? Going all in repeatedly. Is there something else we can do? Zigzo caught under his own mid-tier 2 from a Hex Slash from a Nautilus. Can't really blame the guy for existing under his mid-tier 2. And then the dive on top side as well, and yet they're still looking to force elsewhere on the map. Lodestar needs to find a way to really reset throughout the rest of this game. Whatever happens, happens. It is what it is. I am shocked that that says 6,000 in my top and not anything more. I mean, sure, it's a soul as well, but I am shocked that it's even pretending to be this close.
Absolutely. I mean, like, it's 24-11. Objectives galore for the side of 2 Massive, but the Outer is spawning in 5 minutes' time. To be honest, I think the game might end before it even spawns. They're just so far ahead right now. I think it was 5 or 6k bot lane
right
diff. Yeah,
it's
just
all
insane.
in the bot lane. It is disgusting.
Yeah.
Scary Crow. Okay, that's a nice pick angle.
And nice play there. The wall shooting off that Nautilus will be stunned, will be found. Skargun getting the kill onto Danny Dumptruck.
Poor Zigzo.
Will be dumped. Back to respawn. The
Oh,
Asher are
so
missing,
close.
but it is a nice Maokai ultimate. The follow-up is there. The W will be there just to secure the kill. The Darius
still
thing
gets a
is there,
kill!
but Scary Crow still gets a kill. What on earth is this guy? Insane play. Oh my goodness, the cheek of that just to get a kill. Admits, yeah, I'm probably going to die here. but I'm going to take as much of you out with me as possible. And he does.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, that is
We
a
saw what
Celestial
happened
1v1ing
previously.
on Darius. The Zonya's being used.
Okay,
Ziggs
big chunk.
trying to do damage, but won't be enough. Potentially will burn him down, and that will be a shutdown heading over to that Ashe. That is in very much of need of it. You know, I think that will hopefully enable her to get put some more money towards some more items, but she needed that.
Yeah. I mean, at this point in the game, there is no real feeling of being able to come back, but apparently, if 2 Massive keep making this plays, there are definitely ways and means to get back into this. I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that Ashe is now not completely useless.
No, true.
Lord Doms is there,
Yeah.
and a decent chunk of the way to an Infinity Edge. Going to be 3/4 crit after that's completed, but still 3.5k down, not 5.5k down. Positive.
They're hiding in the bush. I don't think they know.
Now
Potentially
they do.
trying to look onto another kill.
That is
But meanwhile,
such
the
an odd
fight over
video
the wall.
wall.
The Ashe arrow does manage to hit, but Lonely Seal is the only one that commits.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really a play angle. This is a play angle. He's going to force the flash over that one. The first Anivia wall was so odd. It was in line with the Baron pit. It makes it difficult to flash over, I guess, but it doesn't do all too much else. The Baron already going to go
The Baron
a nice
does
attempt,
do it.
but it feels a little bit
Not
forced,
enough.
a little bit late. Unless Xeno, no.
They need to get out. Zixo able just to keep stones
He's
as much as
gliding.
possible.
He's gliding very nicely there.
Does very well. And the shut away as well. But they need to go away, reset, because that will be a Baron buff heading over to two Massive, and they're going to keep pushing. Obviously, Pull System going to try and get that Cryo as well. Push that wave in. Now, Lodestar under a lot of pressure here now, Rue.
Yeah. 4th item, Varus.
Yep.
It's a Jack show. Because he's an ADC. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess he had enough damage when he had just the Rage Blade and the Wit's End before, so there's no reason it's any different now.
And to be honest, I think they recognize him as the sole target. So it'll make him a little bit more tankier in these fights, you know, he won't die as quick.
Is Nautilus the squishiest champ on their team?
I think it might be, if I'm honest.
It's like that or Vi. Somehow, some way, they have made a level 16 Vi the squishiest champ on their team.
Angel Bot
trying to
in
find
the
something,
middle
but
of
it's...
nowhere.
Yeah.
It's not going to be enough. I think this potentially
Nice
might be the end angle. 2 kills on the board here. The chase from Pull System will find kill after kill. 2 Massive are too tanky, too much damage, too much everything, too cool for school right now.
Oh,
Too much.
Did you see how much damage the Ashe Arrow just
Yes,
did?
that Ashe arrow.
That's an Ashe Arrow!
Yep. Insane.
Not to mention the fact that it stuns on for 3.5 seconds afterwards at max range. That just chunked the Anivia out for half her HP. What is this?
That was very one-sided, I must say. Well, throughout the mid-game it was, but early game it was a little bit too even, so symmetrical. It just changed. But that was insane. I think absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
that
speechless,
was-
Rue. I'm
That
absolutely
was brutal in every sense of the word. I believe we are getting a replay of the
of that
pentakill.
penta, but we do see here they overstep.
It looks great right
Lodestar.
now. There's a
It looks
3v1, and then it's not a 3v1 anymore, and suddenly it's a 3v5.
Yeah, not ideal. I think they just overstep. I don't think they had a lot of vision, but
Doesn't
that's
even look
never
that
ideal.
threatening. Scarecrow finds one already with a piercing arrow, autos down the second. And you're not really thinking Penta at this point, because how do they even get the rest of the kills? A nice
True.
hook to get the third for from Danny for Scary. Chains of Corruptions for the 4th, and then, I mean, this poor Ashe got
this
absolutely
poor Ashe
bullied.
absolutely shot to death, and the pentakill so clean by Scary Crow. I mean, what a performance! What a team performance, Rue. I think
it
that's
really was the
definitely
team.
something we need. Yeah, it was the team.
Yeah. You take this. I have my brain has been fried by some of the
Yeah.
degeneracy we saw
No.
in that game. The fact that a guy who has played Silas once in arena in the last 2 weeks and
Popped
he
off the
has
way he did. I
yeah,
mean,
that is
incredible.
disgusting.
I
What is
mean,
this? The
pool
Cassante under the
system.
tier 2?
Yeah, there was just play after play, and I think that for Too Massive, we spoke about it at the start. They are such a team. You know, they've got such good team chemistry. They've got such good coordination. Their macro is on point, and we spoke about it for Lodestar maybe being the more, you know, they prefer independent. Like we saw Zeno doing ever so well in that top lane. You know, probably kept them in the game for a lot of the time. However, in the meantime, that bot lane just bled so early, just lost the lane so early. It came at a cost, and unfortunately, that cost was a very, very fed Varus that would shred absolutely anyone who stepped in proximity of him. And I think that Lodestar, there's some they can work around this absolutely because they know the threat of that bot lane, and I think that I don't want to say target ban bot lane as much as possible, but that could be the sort of play. And don't forget, you've got an ADC player playing mid lane.
Mm-hmm.
Remove that Silas, you're forcing them out onto something they're not really that comfortable with, and I think only then we'll see Lodestar grow into this game and series a little bit more. I think we did see the great Zeno in chat say it might be a Yasuo angle.
Please don't. No offense.
Please
but,
don't. We saw that last time. We don't want to see it again. No offense, my guy.
Once was enough.
Once was enough.
Speaking of once, that is one way of completely destroying a map. We are going to get an MVP for this game. There might even be a poll in Twitch chat if we're lucky. If not, then I don't think it matters because I think it's pretty clear. I think we can agree.
Yeah.
Scary Crow.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
that's
guy got a
like,
penta.
you can't argue that. You just can't argue that. The Crow is indeed scary. You're damn right.
Yeah.
Pentakill, double-digit kills, absolutely farming, highest CS in the game. Beautiful play. Beautiful play by Scary Crow and Too Massive. But Lodestar, they need to bounce back. There is a way into this game. They know, well, we know it is. It's through that top lane. So I think for Lodestar, I think definitely Zeno is the way to go. Obviously, Skargan did play pretty well in some areas on that Anivia, did win early game. That Silas was unable to farm for a large portion of it. But once that Silas got kills, once that Silas got a little bit of momentum behind him, he was able to just, well, take control of that lane once again. And I think that Anivia was really good, but she did just get caught out a lot of the time. I think that definitely one of the... Yeah, she wasn't ideal. Yeah, but there was just so much engaged. There was too much engaged for that Anivia to handle. I mean, you've only got one wall. You've only got one slow. You've only got one... Well, it's just not enough, you know, with 4 people are diving onto you. So I think that definitely might be the sort of draft focus, banning that engage. Well, a lot of them engage style champions.
There's so many of them, though. I don't think there is any specific target rounds that Lodestar can take into this. We are going to take, unless we can get this MVP thing working, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll get you an update in just a second. But yeah, I mean,
MVP,
that was...
Yeah, fantastic.
We already know our MVP.
Yeah.
Here it comes. I mean, yeah. Is there anything else we need to say apart from the fact that he killed everyone multiple times, had insane CS, insane damage, Giga Chad, massive balls? Is that it? I think we're there.
I think that Gumayushi probably needs to go back to the bench on T1 because Scary Crow is coming for his spot. I mean, insane play.
Who's Smash?
True. Who is Smash? Scary Crow, sign him now. I mean,
this guy smashed it this game.
Absolutely. I think that... Yeah, I think, to be fair, that just the team enabled Scarecrow to do a lot there, and Scarecrow himself is just a fantastic player. But an absolute goat of that first game. Shout out and credit where credit is due. But I believe we will be going to a little bit of a break pretty shortly, chat.
Yes.
But I think we will be going to one now. So stay with us. The second game is coming up shortly. See you in a bit. Hello, welcome back. Hello. Welcome back. I mean, obviously, the current score 1-0 to 2 Massive. Obviously, had a pretty strong, solid performance in that first game. Lodestar did pretty well in some areas, just not able to basically dig themselves out of the hole they had sort of put themselves in, but definitely areas of improvement. Now, obviously, Rue, we saw the vast gap in terms of the top lane versus the bot lane performance.
Yeah.
What would you say could be the balancing factor of that? Do you think maybe the jungler starting top side and work ganking down bot a little
I don't
bit
think that's
more,
the
or-
issue.
No?
I think the issue is you decided to have your ADC, who you knew was going into a tough matchup no matter what he chose, go on the champ with one of the worst wave push I think ADCs have.
Yeah.
Honest. And until you kind of get to like Runans, which he didn't even end up going, it's awkward at best, and at worst, you're waiting for the wave to group up so you can hit your W. Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to push waves anywhere near as fast as a Varus. You had to have something that you were able to weak side him with a little bit more than the Ashe. The way it played out, sure, your Darius got ahead, but you're still losing the ADC fight to a significant degree. And at the end of the day, ADC gold lead matters a lot more than top, because we saw Cassante on limited econ still be a Cassante.
Yeah.
Right? Ashe is not going to be an Ashe the same way as Cassante will be a Cassante. The base stats on tanks allow them to exist on poor econ.
Yeah.
That's why we see so many of them in support.
True. I think that for Lodestar, I think they're just gonna have to just choose and draft carefully. I think because obviously they first picked that Varus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Ashe knew what they were going into way before.
Yeah,
And
especially after that Varus, right?
Yeah.
You know that you're going to get weak-sided by the fact that your top lane is going to take counterpick, your red side. He's going to get a good matchup for himself. You know you're going to be playing weak side likely on ADC. Even something like the Jhin. Obviously, the Ezreal, they banned themselves. They didn't want to play into that, but just something with either more range or more wave clear, or preferably both, I think would have been much better than the Ashe that stayed alive for the most part in the early game, but was restricted in farm so heavily by the massive bully that was able to be provided by something like the Varus Nor. Unless you want to pair the Ashe with something range support, I think that would be the only way around it. But even then, you're still at threat of a Nautilus, and it's never a fun time.
Absolutely. I think that I think Lodestar, well, by now they should be aware of, and I think they are, of the sort of style of play that 2 Massive is. Engage, and also engage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that choosing an ADC that has no mobility like Ashe is just not the play. And I think that an Ezreal, to be honest, could have been really, really good there.
Yeah,
because he's
it's just
so
sad
hard
they
to get
banned it out
onto.
first.
Yeah.
They did not want to face against the scary current Ezreal, and seeing how the Varus went, I don't blame them at all. I think it wouldn't have been much nicer. You might have been able to kill him eventually because he wouldn't have had things like the Jack shows, the Terminus, and the Wit's End, all of which made that Varus a lot more like a Varus top than a Varus bot. But, I mean, still mightily effective as we saw. It didn't really matter what he built in the end of the day because he was giga-fed.
True. I think that they've got to be aware, and I think the bot selection now for Lodestar, that needs to be the focus of this draft. And I think that it's pretty difficult coming into this because obviously you're against such a very experienced bot lane. And to be fair, I think one thing I didn't really mention was shout out to Danny Dumptruck. Mm-hmm. He was everywhere, absolutely everywhere on the map.
And playing against the Rakan as well.
Yeah.
To be able to not just match, but exceed the Rakan's roam is something to be very proud of when you're playing something like the Nautilus.
And the Lodestar, once again, first
You get to choose
banning.
it first.
They need to... think they might have got the picks and bans, and we're going to probably see a similar sort of ban. I mean, we are going to see that Syndra be banned. Obviously, they recognise Skagen is too solid on that champ.
I think that's a good ban.
Yeah, that is a good ban. The Galio ban. Interesting.
I guess they're looking to take mid early rotation here. Skagen has very few AD mids, if any at all. It forces Lonely Seal onto a lot of these AD junglers, but they don't mind. It's how they want to play. But it's very easily countered by something like the Galio. And I think we've seen also a sneaky sub come through.
Yeah. Rusted Iron, the Anivia god,
And
has...
they've let Anivia through rotation. They're going to pick it first. Skagen played it game 1. They could just pick Anivia first.
Yeah, true.
Or, right, you did leave Gwen up. That's true.
True, yeah.
We know how Gwen is currently. Nefiri, another power pick that has been left to fate to decide who gets which champs. I think Nefiri added to Anivia is looking mighty fine for 2 massive, unless they don't play Nefiri. I'm not sure about that.
I think Rusted Iron might go... I think this could be a Anivia first pick. Potentially.
The only question is Nefiri, I think.
True.
It doesn't look like the Dagurin has played much of this new revitalized Nefiri, but there is the Anivia. We suspected it from the second that it was let through this draft. 3 bans chosen to go elsewhere, and hello, your face is just lit up. Is that gonna be locked, or is that just there to bait you? I would love to see the hope fade from your eyes. Yeah, there it goes. Instantly. Yeah. I knew it was too good to be true.
Oh, the Varus again. To be fair, I don't get why you wouldn't really switch up, to be honest.
You don't really need to change anything, right?
No, it just worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It just works. Now, Lodestar maybe onto that Vi. Probably looking to engage onto that Varus, but I think that...
Not the biggest fan.
Yeah, not...
It's never a great time playing Vi, especially as you get higher up in Elo. You just kind of feel like you are sent out as the glass cannon that is going to basically die for everyone else's sins. You feel like at some points you are just Jesus who has been sent to die for everyone else. And it's not the most fun. It really isn't. Misfortune, okay, that paired with a cease and desist, I'm interested to see.
Yeah.
That paired against a Yasuo Windwall, I'm now less interested to see. Don't do that to him.
Yeah, please don't.
That would be so rude. That would be so
had a rough
rude.
First game. Please let them have a little...
Just let him have a wombo combo.
Yeah.
One wombo. I asked for one wombo. One combo. Okay, Olaf.
Olaf, okay.
Hold on. Olaf?
Wait.
Olaf.
It's
like we accepted that way too quickly. What?
What? Into Gwen?
I guess. I don't know how that... I'm going to do some research.
I actually don't know that matchup, honestly.
Well, top lane resident is not helping top lane.
No, I've just never seen that matchup. I've played Gwen a couple of times. I've never ever played into Olaf. Well...
it looks like it's bad for Olaf. A 47.57% win rate for the Olaf in that matchup against the Gwen. Apparently, usually ends up about 200 gold ahead at 15, but is down in XP and is not having a fun time because Gwen will outscale.
Now,
so that's that.
Yeah. So the band in the meantime, the Sinzao and the Renata, and obviously a double engage support ban, the no Rakan, no Leona. Please do not tease Shaco. Thank God, I don't want to see Shaco.
Jarvan is a great pick here.
It is a good pick,
especially when you have immobile ADC. Both sides basically putting a massive, big old bullseye on the enemy bot lane. I'd like to see something like a Rel from Angelbot. If he has that in his locker, that would be amazing. Mid, I don't know what Skagen wants to take into Anivia, but he has all the time in the world to think about it. Now that you take the Nautilus,
okay.
He just has a Rel,
that is a I mean, to be honest, The rally is I think open, but I think it takes it away from Danny. Now Danny was fantastic on that Nautilus, setting up so much play, and I think that just removes that a little bit. The Valkars 3 will be
Okay.
picked. Okay, I like that, but that does leave open the Braum, which will be picked. Okay, I mean,
very surprised. I said it out loud. I was very expecting the Rel from Danny, his favored support behind the Nautilus,
Yeah.
and especially a team. Okay, you don't need much more engaged, but it can't hurt. The Jarvan wants to go in. The Braum, it feels, wants to defend. They're trying to do a mixture of peel and dive. It's always iffy when you start to head in between the two different ideas. So, yeah, an interesting way to round it out.
it is. I think there are aspects of both drafts that I quite like. I mean, I like the Gwen. I like the Valkars. I like the MF.
You know what I like?
What do you like?
The lack of Cassante.
The lack of Cassante. I couldn't agree more. I mean, to be honest, you've been blessed so far. You've only had one uncomfortable champion. Like you could have had Skarner. So
I could have had Skarner. That's true.
You could have had Skarner. There's been no Skarner. So
yeah. Well, the 10th nerf might have just about done it for him. So 9 wasn't quite enough, but I think 10 might have just got him to the right place. That is the bottom of the food chain, where he belongs. Still gonna be just daggers thrown at both of the ADCs. I point out it's full out. I want to kill your ADC before you kill mine.
Yeah, and obviously we have, I think, more engage on the side of Lodestar. Obviously we just have that Jarvan, very strong. Who, to be honest, does beat the Vi very early on. I think that Jarvan it's quite a difficult champion to deal with in the jungle. You have to afford him a lot of space. But
come to think of it, I think I proved that Jarvan beats
you did
in the early game
you
earlier.
Did. That's why I'm referencing it. I was just saying if you clocked onto
my
it.
guy. It took me a while. I was like, I don't play this game often enough to actually remember the games that I played, which is such an oxymoron because the less you play, the more you think you'd remember. But
no,
I did do that. That's a good point.
You did. You absolutely did.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But no, I mean, let's talk about the mid lane matchup. The Anivia into the Valkars. Obviously, Valkars been picked a lot in this competition.
Mm-hmm.
Does do a lot of damage, Valkars.
He does have some
absolutely shreds.
Hidden. It's all in his passive. His base damage is basically meaningless come endgame.
Yeah.
Especially when resistances start to rise. They're not going to get all too high, admittedly. Braum not going to get that tanky. Anivia going to have more health than anything else.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the true damage comes through, and it's about 1,000 in the late game. Out of nowhere. Especially when it's paired with that death laser beam itself. There is definitely opportunities for this Vel'Koz to really pop off, and it is Skargen's favourite champ as well.
True, it is. And I think that Skargen was a little bit, obviously they played the Anivia last game, but, there's a potential carry aspect here. Like we did mention, the side lanes are so important for Lodestar that, the Gwen is there.
Yeah, the side lanes once more. As you're right to point it out. The only issue I have is that the other team is set up to kill immobile carries.
Yeah.
So when you pick your R5 against a team that's set up to kill immobile carries, he's then gone an immobile carry. And on that, I am a little bit scared for him. Anything that can be done to Misfortune can also be done to him. If they accidentally end up a couple of meters too close to each other, they're both caught in a cataclysm, that is team fight game over. They have to play separated. If they're together, they will lose the game instantly. This comes down to how well the Vi and the Nautilus can set up for Misfortune, and somewhere around that, Vel'Koz is disintegrating every single life form.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Absolutely. I think the key here, I think, is definitely got to be them side lanes for Lodestar. Now, obviously, 1-0 down is how they bounce back. A 5-man invade so far. Zixo
Run
sleeping
away,
in the
Miss
bush, needs to
Fortune,
run away.
Oh,
Will be slowed.
cleanse.
Does cleanse.
Yeah,
Is used. I think that's
not ideal. Not
Yeah,
ideal.
well, ideal for 2 Massive because that Braum's got to stay in lane, and hopefully getting onto that MF, who's quite mobile, slowing her down a little bit, would be quite good. Now, I think, yeah, that's a good little invade there. Keeps Lodestar on their toes.
Yeah, and it is a summoner. It's not the premium summoner, of course. Flash would be
Flash, yeah.
the happier target to have received in payment. But as soon as the Winter's Bite hit, Zixo is forced to do something. So choosing the lesser of 2 evils, he doesn't have cleanse for the first couple of minutes of lane phase, and into a Braum that can be deadly in its own right.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you're looking on this Braum here to primarily slow down that MF as much as possible.
Wow.
And look, already a
doesn't
little
miss.
bit of poke as well. Does not miss.
Maybe they don't need a roll when they have engaged Braum like this. I mean, Danny, oh my god!
Non-stop.
You're a ranged support. Stop it!
Non-stop presence just flying about there. I mean, a little bit of trading early on. So I can getting the better so far. Does manage to get the level 2. A little bit more trading, but you know, obviously should be aware of this matchup. Knows that he's not going to win as early on as possible. Because obviously Gwen is a scaling champion compared to that Olaf. But this is, again, a little bit of what we saw in the first game. The wave bleeding just a little bit. Lodestar being a little bit too scared to push up. You know, Zixo aware of the threat that Scarecrow is. And also the threat of Lonely Seal forced to flash.
Don't you like it when your top lane is able to get jungle flash by invading wolves?
That's...
Hello? I guess his wave's frozen, so he has nowhere else to be, does the Olaf. No sums that he had to use. He is now down a level, though. He might even be boxed out of this lane by the Ignite Gwen.
You want to see that bone plating come out there, but the shield...
He's going to pop
the heal
Ghost?
pot...
No, he's out.
No, he doesn't. He does pop out.
He has biscuits as well.
Does have his biscuits and his heal pots gone, but... we'll struggle a little bit here. Obviously... Goran, get on that blue buff, probably potentially looking for either a mid gank or bot gank after that scuttle. The scuttle is important, folks.
Lonely
Now,
Seal. Did he lose one of his wolves? He's only level 3. Did he lose a wolf?
I'm
With
pretty
the whole
sure.
camp guy, he is down a full camp. He's only at 19. The Jarvan must have... No, the Jarvan didn't get it because he's only at 27. Something happened. They're going to go for the dive. I will stop talking.
The Ghost used, the Ignite used as well, does have his shield up. Oh my goodness!
Punched him.
Oh no!
Why did you punch him when he's on the tower?
No. Oh no, not ideal. Now Xeno caught in his spot above that as the Goran does follow up. The Gwen is immune a little bit.
You're not
there,
immune
but
when
will be
they're in the
burnt
circle
out.
with you.
Oh
That is
my god.
Oh my. Lonely Seal has only himself to blame for that
Yeah.
one. If he just waits for his Q to come back off cooldown, he can punch him with some actual force behind it. Instead of hitting him with an auto attack while he's still in turret range, the axe comes down from the heavens, and now he's going to have to try and gank his way back into this game, and he chooses bot lane.
Absolutely deleted. Now, Lisa will be coming down, but unfortunately, Angel bot falling really, really
Nice
low.
flash.
The Q does come in. It's a nice route. Scarecrow needs to die, but unfortunately, he's still alive. Will go down. Danny, still alive,
2 for 1.
will potentially be dumped into the fountain, hopefully. There we go. And that will be 2 for 1. Not a bad fight. Could have been a little bit cleaner, but they will take it, Lodestar.
The issue is how much further ahead the Jarvan is in farm. And I think I found where that extra camp went. It looks like blue buff was the sacrifice, unless I am very much mistaken. The map is currently covering the icon. so I can't quite see. I think
Yeah,
blue buff hasn't been taken yet.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Xeno now caught looking a little bit too far forward.
Getting a little bit too eager.
Angelbot?
Meanwhile, Angelbot does come in, but no, it's not worth. Angelbot would probably fall here. Not ideal at all. Feeding kills galore. And that has put that Olaf far ahead. 3 kills and 1 assist on the board.
Are we able to FF5? I would not want to be active participant on the Lodestar Academy side of things right now. Your jungler is down 3 whole camps and has only got 2 kills in return for the other guy getting 3. So you're down camps and you're down kill participation. That's rough. Mid is
really
up
rough.
100 gold. Congratulations. Bot is down 400. They lost a kill and also 20 CS.
It's not ideal.
Here we go once more.
A little bit of poking, not going to be finding much. Lonely Seal maybe gets the kill onto Danny, but Danny is just slowing. He's living for so long. He's got nowhere to go. Does flash. Does do really well, but needs to run away from that Nautilus.
He's going to
Oh
escape
my
this
goodness,
somehow.
no.
The door?
He does get caught, but if they get a kill here, Scary Crow, very, very close, does potentially get one.
He's
Does
got
have the
passive.
stats from the lead, from the passive, and also, but Lonely Seal does manage to find it, but Degorin is there.
Solo kill top.
Solo kill top, and it's not ideal. Oh my
Nothing
goodness,
is ideal
what
anymore.
is happening? What
Xeno
is
can't
happening?
even kill Vinza with his Ignite. Vinza had no summoners up and he still survives. That is absolutely insane play. This Olaf is now untouchable for the rest of lane, maybe even the rest of this game, because I can see this one ending alarmingly quickly.
Credit to Danny there, by the way, who was able to buy so
That
much
was
time
neat.
to enable Degorin to come back. But I think, you know, one of the few positives for the side of Lodestar is that Vi has 4 kills, but, you know, Vi is
Kind of
up
just
into
explode in poros. Sorry to completely overrule.
Oh, good.
That just exploded in poros?
Yep.
That is amazing. Why is no one talking about this skin?
It does look pretty cool.
Right, sorry, back to it, sorry.
But the MF doesn't have any kills, and unfortunately, that's not ideal. She does have the assist, but in the lane... Oh no, Xeno caught in no man's land. Look at this attack speed from this Olaf. There's no escape. The bite is there, potentially.
Flash Q. Oh, and he doesn't care.
No, absolutely deleted. And this could be another set of kills.
It will be a set. Oh,
Maybe the Valkos is there to able maybe
Disintegration ray?
burn down. Does get the shutdown. A lot of gold heading over to Skagen. Ideal. That was a nice fight for Lodestar, but unfortunately, you know, the Gwen dying isn't pleasant, but to be honest, that Gwen is probably not worth a lot of gold.
She is not. 0401, she is worth basically pennies, if that. But money
Potential
going
dive.
to Skagen is good. The wave clear has to use
The wave play
that there.
is solid.
They're going to take a
They
whole
do
lot of
land
damage
in,
from this
but
turret. Cataclysm,
Unfortunately, it's too clean.
they juggle it so well.
Oh, and
Oh!
gets the kill
The
and
barrier!
lives. Oh my goodness, so
Can we get his
clean.
HP quickly? Are we able to like go onto his HP? Because I'm, I don't think we are. That is so close. Unfortunately, we're getting a back up to top. It feels like a replay, but it's not even. It's just another time where Xeno's going to be forced out once more, and bot lane is also a place of contention. Red buff getting yoinked in front of their... Well, not in front of their eyes. They don't even see it getting yoinked. They just have to accept the fact that it's gone.
Yeah, this is rough for Lodestar. They are so far behind early on.
Oh!
The Gwenel
that
is
was backwards.
used, but it's not going to find anything. Now,
Yeah.
Vinze is really strong. Can just probably walk under that turret and just bonk her. But more potential setup coming from Danny here, positioning in that
He's
tri
going to go
bush.
for another... Is he going to go invade again on Vi? I think he might have been spotted on Vision. Skagen roaming up. So that will be denied this time. But Vince has now caught Xeno on the wrong side of the rift once more. What
Xeno
can
needs
Xeno
to-
do to escape?
Does dash away, but it's not enough. Needs to keep running. Look at the damage. It's so strong.
Flash.
Does flash as well. Does miss the Q, but in the meantime, the whole team is here. But unfortunately, the Garen does find one in the meantime. Can they flip it? Can
Oh
they
my
turn
god, that
kill?
damage.
The damage from the Jarvan's so strong, but meanwhile, Rusted Iron is potentially coming up. Skargant falling really, really low. Does manage to get the kill and another shutdown. But then they are really carrying in terms of damage.
Right?
Does
He
get a
dies,
little
right?
bit of poke. Lonely Seal needs to sort of
He
help
dies,
out
right?
Rusted Iron.
He dies, right?
No,
There. Okay,
he
does,
does die. I gotta be honest,
Auto.
Lonely Seal, I think should have helped Skargant more there.
Yeah, he has his health to use as a resource. He chooses
Yeah.
not to. Scared of the slow, I guess. Anivia can be difficult to run away from. Not quite levels of Ashe, but pretty close. Oh, Chains of Corruption whiff. That was dangerous as well. Constantly fighting as across the map. But 2k lead right now for two massive items coming in. Anivia with the Rod of Ages up against a very decent buy on the Vel'Koz. Blackfire Torch and Swifties. Codex to boot. No one really establishing a massive lead in terms of items apart from on this top side where once more, is this a replay or is this actually live? I think it's actually live. It's just happening again.
It's just happening again. Xena needs to stop pushing in that wave, and obviously CC and Moon will be absolutely demolished by Vinze. I mean,
Is it at what point do we get to the Bowsen's law of if I just keep dying, then it's worth less, and I can just die for the wave every time?
true.
Because that appears to be the strategy.
It's, you know, obviously having that Strike Breaker already on that Olaf, who is quick as anything, able to slow down, not with just his axe, but that Strike Breaker as well. It's not looking ideal for Xeno in the top lane. We are going to see Invade. Unfortunately, Lonely Seal, your jungle is no longer... Well, to be fair, I think the whole jungle, I gotta be honest, because we've seen the top side Invade from the get-go.
Level 3, yeah, true,
Level
true.
3 Invade top side, missing them walls, but unfortunately...
It's happening again. I'm getting deja vu, insane amounts this game. Zigzo is forced away from his bot tower once more. He needs to get to mid ASAP. Skargant is here to try and relieve some of this pressure, but 3 plates already down. Zigzo being pushed off the farm, now up to 40 difference. Once more, Scary Crow on that Rageblade spike. He hasn't been fed as many kills this time around just yet, but I feel like I have to preface it with a just yet because it can happen anytime.
Indeed. A bit of a 4k gold lift developing now. The only
And this is the difference, right?
Yeah.
Previous game, the top diff was matching the bot diff, and this time it's matching, it's just on the same team.
Yeah, unfortunately. A nice bit of engage here. Does manage to find, needs to absolutely melt that egg before it hatches. Needs to turn it into a fried egg. And it
lets
will
him get
be
out
done.
and then it's killed. Oh, poor
Oh,
Xeno.
Xeno,
Poor
poor
guy.
Xeno.
Doesn't even get... Oh, it does?
Does
that will,
potentially,
that will.
does
Okay.
get the kill. Does get the kill.
Oh, so now his kill's worth something. Great. Dies
Xeno
to
cannot
push the
die
wave
from this
under.
point onwards. Otherwise,
300
he's
gold.
actually worth
It doesn't
something,
do the full reset anymore. It's not as brutal as it used to be. One kill isn't enough to bring your value right the way back up, but he will be worth quite a lot more than he just was for that death, and now potentially you'll only see a caught out a little bit too far away from home as well. Able to escape after stealing some chicken poppers. Respect.
And obviously, in terms of items, they are just very far ahead. That MF not even getting that first item yet. I mean, obviously with the boots as well, thanks to the Adakan, the improved boots. I mean, it's just looking so strong for 2 Massive now. This is
And it really feels
their
like
game.
Lodestar are relying entirely on the Vel'Koz to do everything, and it's not the most reliable source of anything.
Oh my
Nice
god,
immune.
Danny's
That was
there
nice.
proxying the wave, but unfortunately will be shut down. The ult is there to follow up.
Winter's Fight, passive, Glacial
Oh.
Fissure, everything coming in from that Braum. It was a nice dodge of that initial Q, to try and escape somehow, some way, but you're playing Gwen without flash. You're playing Gwen without flash so that you can be aggressive, and that isn't going to stop a disintegration
No.
beam. That's not a projectile. A nice kill back. Skargan is literally the only threat.
Yeah, I mean 5-1, 2k gold lift.
How close is he to
gold lift
Horizon
mid lane.
Focus? He's got to be close, right?
Yeah. Does have a couple
bright
stacks
spot.
on the measure as well. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think they could potentially play around Skargan, but it's going to be tough because we've got the engage from
Oh,
well
That's cute.
this engage style Braum. Danny is absolutely everywhere, and not to mention you've got the Jarvan as well. So getting onto that Valkos will be so easy, but I've got to be honest, it's looking pretty dire for Lodestar. That's going to be the Rift Herald. Will hopefully open up that mid lane.
yeah. And that is 1200 smite as well, just come through for Digurin. 6 more camps needed for Lonely Seal. He's not really close right now, and he's forced to try and help out his lanes, which are disintegrating in front of him. The Rift Herald, that's the word, already used in mid. A bit early by my liking. I would have preferred 2 Massive to wait for the dragon. If that's all the value you're going to get from it, if you're just going to crash it, you're not going to get the whole tower because you haven't chunked it enough beforehand. Waiting to get that prior for another minute, guarantee yourself a 3rd Drake on this Mountain Rift. The Soul is so close, and those extra resistances won't matter all too much to the Vel'Koz, but he will then be literally the only champ that has a remote chance of getting any kills.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, I think that, not to mention the amazing work that Danny has been doing. He's absolutely everywhere. Potentially could be a kill here, but no, not enough. The slow is not enough to just slow down that Anivia, and the Vi is not there.
And Zixo needs to back for Bloodthirster here. I think he's got one more wave, and then he will finally have that first item. The last, not quite, no. The Braum hasn't got his first item yet, but it's very nearly the last first item to get a fight.
There is a slight fight, and Danny does drop that Braum ultimate, and unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. Does manage to isolate the Vi. Danny's still alive. Lonely Seal will get the kill, and I think we might be heading for a slight pause.
We got spectator bugged. There's no green screen. This is one of those moments where League tells you how much they love you by giving you a spectator bug.
We absolutely love the League client. We absolutely love Riot games. I think. Yeah. It happens. Great. It happens. We are grassroots League of Legends, and until Riot actually makes a decent spectator client, this will continue to happen, I'm afraid. But
so it'll continue to happen. Nice to know.
Hey, until Riot get off their rears and actually make it, it's us that pay the price ultimately. But let's just talk about just some of the key moments of that game. Obviously, I'd like to just mention Danny. His macro is incredible. Absolutely incredible. He's everywhere. Mm-hmm. He's like Messi, honest to God. He's always involved in the play, in the 2v2s, even the dives as well. We saw him on the dive on Xeno in that top lane. We saw Danny freezing the wave. Freezing the blue wave. So it just enabled his team to get in there, and obviously Danny was a key part in slowing down that slowing down Xeno, and which left the kills let the team follow up on the kill. But I think that Danny has just been absolutely everywhere. He's taking a lot of space. I mean, you should see him in the bot lane. He's never in the tri-bush. He's always, for some reason, in between. He's almost proxying. That's what he's doing on support. He's proxying. He's in between both towers, both bot lane towers, and it's like, what? He's just a constant threat and a constant nuisance.
And I think nuisance is the key word there. He has been a thorn in the side. He's not been the massive damage dealer, right? Because he's playing support. That's not what you do. Instead, you find the holes that allow your teammates to make them bigger until they rip apart the other team at its core. And that is precisely what this Braum has been doing, where other champs don't have that same maneuverability, that same ability to really get under the skin of your opponents. Scarecrow is following up exceptionally well, but as you're right to point out, Danny is doing so much work at giving his ADC this many options to get this far ahead in the game.
Absolutely. I think that it's looking pretty dire for Lodestar, but in an optimistic sense, because I'm an optimistic person.
I'm glad you're optimistic.
Thank you.
Because I think that I am not optimistic about this spec bug.
No, true. Absolutely true. I couldn't agree more. But, I think an area that is potential winnable, is potentially a winning factor, is the Skargan. Skargan is ahead.
Yep.
Does have a big advantage in terms of damage. Obviously, the Valkos is good at just melting people. Potentially that Olaf, who's very, very tanky at the minute, very, very quick, unkillable pretty much.
Yeah.
Could be good at melting him down, but obviously,
I'm not
there
sure
is
he
a
has
risk that
enough.
he can just rush. But yeah,
It's difficult, right? Because
yeah,
he needs to proc his passive and then send the whole duration of his ult, and that might be enough. Even then, I'm not convinced.
yeah,
You're either getting run down by the Olaf, at which point you're dead, so that's bad, or he's far enough away where he can't run you down, so he runs out of range of your ult, and then it doesn't matter anyway. So, it's not amazing. There's not
yeah.
really much to make it amazing. He's just kind of forced to stay in this world of hurt for quite a while. Hopefully, he can break through for his sake. Once he gets to 4 or 5 items, he will pop basically anyone. But the issue is that the items he's going, he will also get popped. And it's a dangerous place to be in when you're in a mobile hyper carry like the Vel'Koz is. They have a Jarvan to get on top of you. They have a Braum. They have an Olaf. All of these champs that are so good at piling CC on someone that's trapped in a small little cage like the Cataclysm. He's going to have to build Zhonya's at some point. But then going golden doesn't mean you do any damage. In fact, it means the opposite. And then you don't do anything.
That's it's just it is very, very rough. But we will be joining mid fight.
Oh wow!
Oh my goodness, that Braum shield is massive. Will go down. Danny
A step too far.
Yeah, a little step too far, but that will enable that MF to get her first kill. Zixo finally has a kill on the board, but at the cost of a lot of kills heading over to
and this is
the side.
This is something that
of
2Massive have done so well in this series, right? Consistently denying the Misfortune anything. Her first kill comes at 22 minutes, and she's 2.4k gold down after that kill. She is a complete non-entity in the outcome of this game. The Gwen that is 2, 10, and 2 has another item on her.
True, the Rift Maker has come through finally, but a little bit omnivamp, but is it going to be enough? I don't think so. Look how tanky that Jarvan is. Does have the Spirit Visage, and probably building towards that Randuin's. It's very, very rough here for the side of Lodestar.
Yeah,
Hopefully
it looks like we're going to go for a fight around Dragon. I believe when we left, there were 3 dragons for 2Massive, so this is a soul fight that Lodestar forced to go into, and Vinza already finds Skargan. We're a bit late to go up, and it's going to be a clean ace.
It's just absolutely melted. It's the blender of that Olaf.
Do they need the dragon?
I don't even think they need to. I think they could just end, to be honest. But that Olaf just so much damage, and he's so tanky. No one can fight him. You have to bait out that ultimate, and eventually then can you actually have an attempt at killing him. But it is really, really rough for Lodestar here. They will get that Mountain Soul, which means they're going to be even more tankier with that bonus MR and armor.
Yeah, and the only one now who can get through them is the Vel'Koz, right? He will have the only form of true damage. I mean, Gwen, I guess, has some, but she has 11 deaths, so I don't really care. So you're left with just the Vel'Koz, and once again, we point out, it's an immobile carry. And this is a Jarvan with 20 kill participation in 24 minutes. He is about to hit Frozen Heart instead of Randuin's because Misfortune doesn't have any crit yet. 25 minutes, she has not had the money to buy a crit item. So Frozen Heart.
I think definitely missing the Collector or, to be honest,
it looks like is that Essence Reaver that she's going?
Potentially. I think Collector is just a really strong item that like pretty much all ADCs should have. I mean, especially on Caitlyn and MF, like you've got to have Collector. Oh, Xeno
can we make it 12? I think we can. Oh look, that didn't take much. 13
the try not to die challenge, failing back to back for 12 times. For Xeno.
More than back to back at this point. It has been repeated deaths. Only a couple kills to say for it. At least when Baus does it, he gets something back on the rest of the map. There, Xeno dies and they lose Baron.
I think this might be game over. Look at the lead. It's a current
11.5.
11k. It's not ideal. Not ideal at all.
What's depressing is we can't even get a 20k gold lead. I don't think there's quite the bandwidth in this one. Skargan doing his best to not let this game turn into a meme, but if that's what your best does, then I think they need to reconsider what's going on the rest of the map. It is just not a good place to be right now. Baron gonna start the push. There are no turrets on the outer part of the map. It is just the base to go to Massive. A 4-1 in the offing, and they might just go for a fight instead.
The fight does face check around the bush filled with 2 people in it, but look at...
He didn't even take damage!
Target. The damage just doesn't do anything. And now the MF ult will do absolutely nothing either. It is just simple. It's like scratching, you know, not gonna do absolutely anything. It's like scratching a metal. It's basically like scratching Iron
hasn't
Man.
taken damage. He's taken more damage from this turret.
No damage taken whatsoever.
He took more from eating 3 turret shots under the Nexus than he did from anything to do with the Vel'Koz disintegrating him. He nearly dies to Nexus.
It does that he died to Nexus, but unfortunately it will be Lodestar losing out on the round 16 and a potential, well, basically movement forward into this competition. That will be them bowing out like true professionals, but too massive for Lodestar today. Credit where credit is due. I think an absolutely fantastic performance by them. I think overall, I think it was a bit of a macro diff. I think the lanes were just losing lanes in the way that they did put them really, you know,
is there anywhere it wasn't a diff? I think there was macro diff, it was a hands diff, it was a top diff, a bot diff, a support canyon, no offense, it was a bit rough, and then jungle diff. I think mid is the one place you can say there is some honor held by Lodestar Academy. Skargan did his best, but I'll bring it up again because I can. He's an immobile carry, and they have a job.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything.
You're not doing anything, yeah. And to be honest, that damage at the end, that ultimate just didn't do anything.
Yeah,
it's like shooting an arrow, like a bow and arrow at a tank. It's just not going to do anything. Unfortunately for Lodestar, I think the drafts may have come at a price, and I think that playing the way they did, I think, unfortunately, I don't think it was on the same level. But credit where credit is due. Both teams, they came out here and they fought valiantly. One emerged as the winner. That will be going on through to the quarterfinals. I mean, is this potentially the way forward? Are two massive potential winners of the Division 3 SOL title. Would you say they could go on and do it?
I think that if they have more performances like they did today, then absolutely they have the ability, right?
Yeah.
What has been proven to us today is that Two Massive can hang. Unfortunately, their opponents prove that they can't. So it'll be interesting to see what Two Massive can do when they play against some better opponents, which will be coming soon. Though it looks like next week their game is against the 12 seed, who managed to beat the 5 seed Mazeppa Sol, losing out to Vexus on this side of the bracket. So after demolishing the 13 seed, Two Massive now get the luxury of playing against a 12 seed.
I mean, it's pretty close to them in terms of where they were seated, but or a similar sort of level as where Lodestar was seated. Sorry, I do apologize, but this is potentially I don't know. It's a nice run. It is a nice run into that finals, a potential winnable game there. So I think that personally, yeah, I think they could go on potentially into the semi-finals and possible finals. They're a really, really talented team. So we'll see how they do get on. Now, chat, if you are still here with us, thank you so much. We appreciate it throughout any difficulties we've had. Get voting that MVP. Come on, let's see who is your MVP for today's game. I'll reveal my personal one. I think it's probably got to be Danny Dumptruck. The funniest name, and to be honest, the best macro in the game. Absolutely fantastic. Love the guy. Sensational performance.
He has
really,
played
really strong.
very well across both games. He played great, but I think if we're looking at a map 2 MVP, I'm going to have to give it to Dagurin. I haven't seen a Jarvan play with such proficiency in this tournament at all. He has absolutely mastered that champ. He finds 2 immobiles to go up against, so it's a great matchup. Don't get me wrong. Up against the Vi and 2 immobile carries, it is a Jarvan's dream, and he has played it to perfection. I believe he ended that game like 20 plus KP in 1 death. So mad respect going out for that. But I think you can choose basically anyone, and it is a worthy choice. Two Massive were a very, very good team today, and I don't think the same can be said of Lodestar. They had very good players, but I don't think they were a good team.
I think obviously for obviously next split, Lodestar can hopefully just emerge. They need time to scrim, practice, just build that chemistry up, and then hopefully they can emerge in next split a lot better, a lot more cohesive team. And I think we will have our MVP pretty shortly. You guys voting, to be fair, an absolute legend of the game. Scary Crow did get a penta, had a very, very clean last game, but he will be your MVP for today's series. Scary Crow, 8 kills, 2 deaths, 9 assists in that last game. Nice round CS number, but a very, very solid team. A very, very solid team, and I think that Scary Crow would probably agree with me on this, that his team enabled him to do a lot of the stuff that he was able to do.
Playing with a master support is a luxury sometimes that not everyone is afforded. Scary Crow today, playing with an absolute master in his role, allowed him to really get going. Your Game 2 MVP is Scary Crow. I think for the whole series, I think that's a valid choice, but Twitch, I'm going to have to call you out on that one. Game 2, that's... I don't know. Game 1, absolutely. 100% guarantee. Agree. Game 2, I think there are better choices, just saying.
The only reason you wanted that Jarvan to get the MVP is because you played Jarvan earlier. That's all I'm saying, Rue. I'm saying.
Jarvan against the mobile ADC, you allow it through, and he punishes. And in the style that he did punish, I have to go out and say that I love that, right? Because it's just the manner in which he carried that game, controlling all 3 lanes like a puppet master
and
sometimes.
the jungle as well. Let's not forget. basically,
yeah.
Lonely Seal could not farm. Either all his camps were stolen or all his camps have been invaded, and just like he just couldn't step up because there's either a Java waiting in a tri bush or just any bush, or a certain Danny dump truck waiting because that's what Danny does. But I think that, yeah, it's credit where credit is due. Two massive, fantastic team. Every single individual player putting a really good show on, and just basically showing their worth, showing how a good team is meant to look. Good chemistry, good cohesiveness, just good decisions and strats.
Just generally
Yeah,
good, I think, is the kind of key point
Yeah.
we want to get across. But unfortunately, we will not get to see any more of the good because it is just a best of three. The 2-0 is complete.
Yeah.
Two massive progress. Lodestar Academy will fall at the first hurdle in the playoffs. We will see you guys next time. I don't know what we're going to bring you next. I think we're probably on next with Valorant on Wednesdays. So I hope to see you guys there. We will maybe see you there. I don't know. I might be there. I might not. It's a mystery. But we will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.